Moving on to one of my favorite parts of the show. Why would he say that? I love Collin Cowherd, man. I've been a watcher for so many years, and I hate putting Collin on these. But when you watch enough different people, you hear enough things, you just honest is honest, and you got to be true to the segment. Why would he say that? And this was over several different things. And now, Collin is he has X amount of standards of rules. And I agree with a lot of them, which is when you're playing professional sports, excellence is the expectation. It's not the exception. He doesn't exactly phrase it that way, but that's pretty much what he gets at. Excellence is not the exception. Excellence is the expectation. So when Collin goes on there, a lot of times he's like, I don't care about excuses. Don't tell me the ref screwed you over, even if they did. Like, I remember him, that Saints-Rams game, the NFC Championship game, when we all clearly saw, like, the Saints player just get run over by the Rams corner way before the ball get there and no call. He's like, look, don't tell me about that call, lost to the game. It's like, all right, Collin, it kind of did. That's an egregious one, right? But I normally agree with him. He said, don't tell me about injuries. He's like, the Steelers outplayed the Vikings. The Vikings barely had an offensive line. I don't agree that the Steelers outplayed the Vikings. I do think that cluster injuries, especially in an isolated game, maybe over the course of a season, I'm less likely to give you the excuse. But why are the Chargers not as good today as they were 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago? Because they have multiple offensive line injuries. Two of their best players, one of the reasons that people believed in this team so much is that they had maybe the best set of tackles in the league. They're both gone right now. Joe Alt's going to miss several weeks. Obviously, Rashawn Slater's out for the season. Like, that's Amakai Becton, who, again, was playing good while he was in there. He's out. That's not a excuse of why they're not as good today as they were yesterday. It's the reality of why they're not as good today as they were yesterday. The Vikings in that game, again, multiple offensive line injuries. Your starting quarterback, you're out there with Carson Wentz because your starting quarterback is hurt. Yes, that's not a excuse. That's not oh, poor pity me. That's just the reality. The other one was the Baltimore Ravens. He's like, the Chiefs just totally outplayed them. I don't want to hear about the injuries. Yes, the Chiefs probably win that game regardless. I agree. But don't tell me, again, go back to the Monday Night Football broadcast. Don't tell me when Roquan Smith, Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, Lamar Jackson, all these guys, Ronnie Stanley, when all these big-time names, these guys that we know, when they're all missing time, when they're all missing games, that's not an excuse. If I'm down half my starting defense, yes, the Ravens defense has not been good this year. Agreed. But when you're missing 6 of those guys, your starting defense is down, which isn't very good. It's missing half its starters. That Bengals game last night, you don't think it's different if Joe Burrow is in that game? Again, a guy goes out for a game. I remember PS2 has left 2 games in his career early due to injury. I don't think that is enough to say why they lost. Like the last year's Chargers game, for example, the one that both struggled all up and down the first couple of quarters. PS2 left. And it was like, oh, man, PS2 left. This game shouldn't count. No, that game still counts. You still have all these other guys. You still have Benito. You still have Cooper. You still had Riley. Like, you still had the majority and the core of your defense. One guy for one game is not enough to say, oh, okay, we got screwed over just by injuries. But when you have cluster injuries, the Vikings and Chargers offensive line, when you have cluster injuries, the entire Ravens defense, when you have your quarterback is hurt for multiple weeks or long stretches of the season, Vikings, Bengals, that's not making an excuse based on injuries. That is dealing with the new reality for those teams, which is those are just different teams. the Chargers team that's going to take the field this next week. They might win, but down 3 of your offensive linemen, Justin Herbert keeps getting hit. He's been hit more than any quarterback in the league the last 2 weeks, what was the purpose of this team? How were they built? How were they constructed? To keep Justin Herbert upright because that's their best player. And not that I think it's going to really destroy or damage Justin Herbert in the short term. He's in his 20s. He's young. He's in his athletic prime. But this is how, when you take this amount of hits, this is how you become an old 32-year-old way faster than you think. Again, Andrew Luck's the prime example of he got hit so much he just walked away from the game. You keep getting hit at the rate Herbert's been getting hit this year because of the injuries to his offensive line. This is how you become an old 32, 33-year-old. You don't play until you're 36, 37. This is the difference in having a talent like Justin Herbert for a 10 to 12-year stretch versus having a talent like Justin Herbert for a 15 to 17-year stretch. That is franchise altering. So I don't agree with again, if it's for a game, fine. You got to man up. Excellence is the expectation. It is not the exception when it comes to professional sports. But you start having cluster injuries like the Chargers, like the Vikings, like the Ravens. All this stuff adds up. Like, injuries are a part of the game. And at some point, you just lose too many guys. You're going to be a different football team. You're going to be supplying a different product. You're not going to be the same team that we thought you were heading into the season. That's just the reality of it. So, Collin, I hate to do it. I love Collin. I watch the Herd every single day. You can't say, I don't want to hear about injuries, man, especially when it comes to cluster injuries for some of these teams, like the Bengals, like the Vikings, like the Chargers, like the Ravens. You just can't do it. They're fielding entirely different teams, fielding entirely different products. It is not the same. I mean, if you want to be a part of one of the coolest, most unique communities, don't forget to like and subscribe.